What's happening? Good morning. Today on the podcast, we're talking about getting yourself to do hard things. I'm going to share with you three things that you'll be able to do in order to really get yourself to do hard things. Like how do you actually get yourself to do it? How do you stay true to doing the hard things? And then how do you like up level to the next hard thing? Today, we're going to talk about that on the podcast. And let's go ahead and cue the intro.
Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
All right. Getting yourself to do hard things, man. How does that even work? So before I kind of break those three things down, I'm going to just share with you just one scripture. That's it. One scripture that really gets to the heart of the matter, and it's found in Proverbs 23 and verse 7. It says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What does that mean? As a man or woman thinks, reasons, decides, and then heart. What is that? In your mind, in your deep down in you, there's a thinking process. There's a filtering that happens when it's time to make a decision, and it's on autopilot. The way our minds are wired is it's on autopilot, so we don't actually have to think. Because if you had to think about everything you did every day, you would be more than overwhelmed. You would be like, because look, I get overwhelmed just having too many thoughts and too many things to do. That's why a lot of times I got to write stuff down, or else I'll forget it. There's something I wrote down yesterday that when I saw it written down, I said, man, I would have forgot that had I not written it down. I said, this is powerful. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, is how we're going to actually get ourselves to do things. Because we got to go deep down inside. We have to say to ourselves, okay, what is it that I want to do? How am I going to do this hard thing? And I don't even like describing something as hard, because if we say it's hard, then it may be too hard to actually get started. But I'm just kind of like using that as a preface. So what is hard? What's some hard things you've wanted to do? I want you to think about that. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because, after I came back from the gym, it's a hard thing doing it 6 days a week. I'm coming back from the gym and I stopped because inside I'm saying to myself, okay, because I want to know, how did I make the decision to go to the gym 6 days a week? It used to be 7 days, run 7 days a week, do crazy stuff. How did I get myself to do that? How did I get myself to decide to do 500 push-ups a day, 1,000 push-ups a day, run how did I get myself to do that? How did I get myself to even start podcasting, to literally put myself in a situation where I don't know what I'm going to talk about every single day? How did I do it? And I was standing there thinking, I'm like, yo, I don't know. That's the first thing I said. I'm not sure if I really understand it, because on the surface, they look hard. Come on now. Are you doing 500 push-ups a day? If I said, hey, let's do 500 push-ups a day. I know if you're a woman, you probably can't do that. But what if I said, let's do 75 push-ups every single day? You just do 75 a day, no days off. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you're sore. Can you do it? Most would say no. What about 100? I was talking to a friend of mine. He was just he says, man, you do push-ups every day? Yeah, every day. He says, man, he says, dang. I said, look, here's the thing. There's something that you're going to get from it. What are we going to get from it? That's the first thing. If you knew you could do it, if you knew you could do whatever amount of push-ups every single day, or whatever thing that you were going to do, if you knew you could do it, how would you feel about it? That's the first part. If we're going to get ourselves to do something. So the first how do I get myself to do a hard thing? How am I going to feel after this is done? Man, I'm telling you, I'm in the gym this morning. Like, why am I even in here? This is hard. Boom, 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 boom. Get out of there. Oh, this feels so good. I'm so glad I came today. Even though my body was hurting, my heart was beating fast. This was great. And then I'm like, I'm coming out of the gym. I still got 400 push-ups left. I'm like, oh, it's gonna feel great when I'm finished. Man, but my arm right here, it's sore. Like right here, right here is sore every day. I'm like, it's gonna feel great. So if you want to get yourself to do hard things, so the first, how do I get myself to do it, is how am I gonna feel when this is done? And then every day, what you do is after you kind of get into a rhythm, you're going to get into a rhythm 21 days. I think the build a habit these days is like 60 something, 67 days. Like 21 days used to be the thing, but they found that it's longer now. So I haven't gotten to 67 days yet in my push-ups yet. So technically I haven't built a habit. So once you get to the point where you're doing it, then it's almost just like you just look forward to it. You look forward to the finish. My wife Jenny, she's interesting because she's addicted to finishing stuff. And sometimes I'm like, well, why don't you use that in everything? Like, she doesn't always use it. She doesn't realize she has a power. She has somewhat of a superpower in execution and doing stuff. Um, which she's probably going to listen to this and, honey, yep, you have a superpower in execution. You just have to figure out how to use that in everything you do. But it's nothing like finishing. I probably learned something from her because she likes to finish stuff. She don't want to get up from the desk. She just she would stay glued to the desk. Now I used to be when I was really into a lot of the accounting stuff. Like I'm not into it like I used to be when just doing all the stuff. I don't want to do any of it. Jenny does probably just about 90% of all accounting that we do in this office. And I was addicted to the finish line, but I'm addicted to it in health. So if you're going to do something, then you got to actually see, well, how am I going to feel? How am I going to feel? How's it going to feel when I'm done? And when you can go there and say, you know what? Wow. Now, if you missed yesterday's, you remember yesterday when we were talking, I was talking about the biggest mistake I made in moving forward, where I didn't do this in health, but I did it in business, where I would go out to the future. When I came back to the present, I may not have done all the things, but right now I'm telling you, I'm verbal processing here. This verbal processing is helping me to know, okay, well, that's interesting. How am I going to feel when that bank account's got to the point where, how am I going to feel when I'm producing these things for the people and the people are getting all these results? How am I going to feel about that? Ooh, this is going to feel so good. It's nothing like when people get results. So how am I going to feel? How? And then it's like, from there, how am I going to feel? Then what do I have to do? What do I have to do, to get there, to, really stay on track? That's probably that's one of the most interesting parts of it. Yesterday, when I was talking to some friends, and I was sharing kind of like, we call it new and good. So I'm just kind of sharing where I'm at, verbal processing, putting out where I'm at and, what I'm really hoping to accomplish. And something came out of my mouth that I had never said, but I was posing it to the group because it was a group of us, maybe about 6 of us. And I posed it to the group. I just said, you know what? It's the kingdom of bust. It's like, what if this year, what if at the end of this year, 12/31, that's the only time you had left? How are you gonna respond? How are you gonna respond? And I said, you know what? Then that means it's the kingdom or bust. Meaning I'm going to push forward whatever kingdom message, whatever kingdom assignment I have, and I'm going to push forward. I'm going to press forward. I'm going to do everything that has to be done. So when I said that and I kept saying it, everybody was like, man, this is really powerful. Because now, instead of focusing on even how hard something is. I'm more focused on the fact that, you know what, I don't have any time left. And and the people that I need to help won't have any time left if I don't accomplish what I've set out to accomplish. If I don't do what I said I'm gonna do. If I don't do what God told me to do. If I don't become the person God said that I am. So if I don't do these things, then that means that there's a world of people that would perish. How do I know that? Where there's no vision, the people perish. So if I can have vision, but if I don't do nothing, that the vision becomes plain. You know, I think it's Habakkuk where it says 2:2. It says, "Write the vision and make it plain." So that those who read it can run with it, can actually do something with it. So getting yourself to do things is to really say to yourself, you know what? It's this or nothing. That's pretty much what that statement is, the kingdom of bust. It's this or nothing. What's your this or nothing? You know, the group I just posed, man, this was the last year, man. You know, and it hit one of my friends pretty hard because she's got some things happening in her life and she knows that it's like we want to be further along. So I'm going to speak to that. Man, I want to be further along, but I'm not. Then I'm right where I'm supposed to be. It just means, see, the way that God uses faith in our life. Yeah, you don't know what tomorrow brings. It could be because it says in Matthew 6:34, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will worry about itself. Focus on today. And what is today? The kingdom of bust. Seek first only the kingdom assignment. Don't look, I sought money. Don't seek money. Don't seek fame. Don't seek fortune. Don't seek notoriety and influence. Those things can happen. Think about it. Yesterday we talked about the fruit of the spirit, one with all these elements, 9 different elements inside of one fruit. Imagine if you was eating an apple and then you could be like, oh man, and then eat the orange with it, and then eat the mango with it, and then have an avocado, like have everything all built in one. What if that was possible? God's saying that he put all the good stuff in us. So when we seek first the kingdom, what that does is it gives us love, it gives us joy, it gives us peace, it gives us patience, it gives us kindness, it gives us joy, it gives us goodness, it gives us faithfulness, it gives us self-control, all in one. Wow. How would it feel if you knew that all that's coming out of you, no matter what the circumstances are? How would it feel? So when we really looking at what we're going to do and how, oh man, this looks hard. Now we're going to say, well, you know what? There's nothing else to do. Because if I don't do this, then I die. My life is ended if I don't do this. I know this could be hard. Hard, right? This could be a hard saying. My life is ended if I don't do these things. Well, let's just think about it in the parable of the talents. Not sure which one it's in, but the one where the master says, you are wicked. The one who didn't do anything. The one who didn't do anything with what he had. He did not multiply it. He just held on to it. He said, you are wicked. I'm going to throw you into outer darkness. You're going to hell and you're never coming back. Let that sink in. Remember, so if it's, you know what? There's nothing else to do except this. You know, I was praying. God woke me up, and this is the last 2 nights. He woke me up like 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And so I realized I should pray. So I just started talking to God. I said, okay, well, I'm awake, which means that I should pray. I should talk to God. I'm talking to God about some things and what's going on, praying for some people, praying for some movements, and, you know, just looking at, you know, the fact that I know that God has done something in my life. God has already done something in my life that's powerful. And as I was praying and just thinking and praying and listening, and then now as I'm sitting before you and I'm talking to you about this, he moved. It says in a word that when you call, I will answer. When you ask, it shall be given. See, when we ask God for things, we should ask God for the not for, like, say for instance, if I need money, I shouldn't ask God for the money. What I'm asking God for is for the ability to see how to produce it. You follow me? So if there was a money problem in your life, you need to understand what you have and how to produce something from what you have. So as I'm seeing this morning, I'm like, wow, God, still processing. I'm still working on the culmination of this thing that God is birthing in me. Still, there's still some tweaking to it. But here's the thing though. It would have seemed 5 years ago that, man, that's a hard time. It took me 5 years to get there. See, what happens with the people that are successful doing something? One day you look up and they're very successful. One day you look up and you say, wow, Jay's got millions of subscribers. Wow, Jay's getting hundreds of thousands or millions of views to his videos. Wow. But you'll be able to go back, more than likely, and see videos that had one view, 20 views, 30 views. See, because there's an appointed time for everything. So while you are working on getting to the appointed time, the job that we have is to stay doing that thing. And it could be hard, like doing it over and over and over and over. And lastly, the last thing I'm going to share with you is then how to go to the next level. Once you have mastered, once you have gotten consistent, once you have got that discipline going in that first hard thing, that you are doing, you don't stop doing it. I've made this mistake. So I just want you to know, don't make the mistake of stopping doing it just because, like, okay, I got that now. Let me do something else. Some things you can't stop. Now, some things you can, but I would say that this first thing that you start doing, don't ever stop. Make that as like the memorial of where you started. Now, one of the things that I stopped that I wish I wouldn't have is running. I wish I wouldn't have stopped running. I can always go back to it, but I wish I wouldn't have stopped running. But it's okay. It's okay. I don't necessarily have to go back to it, but I wish I wouldn't have stopped. And so you don't stop this thing. The next level, how do you go from now? Okay, I've gotten this thing going. I want to start something new. This is where I'm currently at. I've done a number of things, but I'm currently at installing some things into my business from this framework that technically I'm developing. And as I'm installing it into my business, it's kind of like, well, if this is the things on autopilot, and I've known this for a while, but the way that I operate, I like to deposit it in to the point where it becomes me and I don't actually have to think about it. That's called, like, in your subconscious, you literally don't have to think about the things you just know it. So that's what I like to do. I like to take the thing and do it so often that it just becomes second nature. But that, I guess, at the end of the day, that's just being consistent. So if you're going to graduate to a next level, don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Like in this instance, if you were doing push-ups, like I'm doing, don't try and do too many because you don't want to get tripped up. So one of the things that I'm doing in that next phase is that I'm going to take an action in my business, something I actually love doing, or something that could really move the needle, which is creating content videos just like this, and just record a video every day. Literally just record it. Not necessarily like, oh my goodness, I gotta have this set up. Nope. The way that I work is I just need to go and do it, because guys, I'm a heavy thinker. So if I just think it, I can think forever, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take my knowledge. I'm going to take the information. This is what I'm doing in the video, and I'm going to record it. Now, what happens next is another story, because usually you do a video, then what do? So I'm not going to focus as much on that, because that's actually a problem that I can just pay for. I can just pay somebody to, hey, take this, edit it, post it. So I can pay for that. But what I can't pay for is somebody to step in front of the video and do it for me, you know. So I got to do it based on what I have and based on what I know. So what do you do to get to the next level? You take something that you already kind of know. Take something that you already kind of know. And there's going to be things you don't know, right? There's going to be things you don't know. Don't worry about them. Just look at all of what you do know about the thing, and then create something around that. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating something around the stuff that I know from health and fitness and business and taxes and growing, right? And video, like all these things are things that I know, and I can speak wholeheartedly to all of them. See, because one of the things that you don't want to ever get into is the comparison trap. That's a trap. Don't compare yourself to anybody, because at the end of the day, just people, they can't do what I'm doing. Everybody can't do what I'm doing. So if you can, nobody can do what I'm doing. Nobody is as good at being me as me. So you use you in that next phase, right? That first thing may have been something that's outside of you. The second thing is going to be something that is all you. So you take what's all you, and then figure out what you could do. For me, I just told you I'm videos every day. Jay, you already doing video? Yeah. Think about it. I'm doubling down on something that I'm already good at. Because if I try and focus on something that I'm not as good at, then it takes more time. So I'm going to double down on what I'm already good at. And what's going to happen is, I already know what's going to happen. Next level. And then from there, I'm going to add something else after I kind of get that going. And I have a library, that 60, 90-day mark. I'm going to come back. I'm going to keep that going, and I'm going to add something else. I'll let you know what happens. I've kind of started. Already. However, I did miss a day already. So I got to reset again. So I got to start again. So I'm going to start that today. And then as I start today, I'm going to let you know every day how I'm making progress. So getting yourself to do hard things, guys, is not necessarily hard, but you start with the hard. You start with the hard, and you just make the commitment. You keep the discipline, and remember, how is it going to feel? How is it going to feel when? That is what's going to keep you motivated. And then it's like, okay, then this is what I have to do. And just, you're just going to keep doing it. You're just going to knock it out. Right. And then it's like, well, how do I go to the next level, and then add something else in, instead of doing something that you haven't done. At this point, you're going to take something that's you. You're going to take something that's you. And then you're going to double down on something you're already good at. And then you're just going to, but you're not doing it. So you're going to double down something that you're already doing. You're not doing it. And then you're going to go ahead and start doing it, and then watch and see. And you're going to repeat the cycle. Man, how's this going to feel when? What's it going to look like when? How much money am I going to have as a result at some point? Wow. This is going to be amazing. So getting yourself to do hard things. Guys, I hope you got value from this program today. And make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody. If you got value today, give a text message to somebody. Say, hey, man, you got to check out J Mo the Healthy Accountant on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you're watching it. Check him out. He's moving and shaking. This guy's going to change the world in 2024. Because that's what we're in. 2024 is the kingdom or bust. It's the assignment or bust. Let's go. Guys, I thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.